Part 40. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 396. Chi Chen's momentum immediately weakened. I didn't mean that, I mean, since you rejected him, don't chat too much. Many boys will think that your chat is like. In order to welcome and refuse the 4 words, in front of this little girl, Chi Chen couldn't say anything. After all, she was too small. So he sighed and said, "You should focus on studying, not talking to such boys." Yan Ji sneered, "You're not my dad, what qualifications do you have for me?" It really seems so reasonable. Chi Chen also felt that he was a bit broad-minded, and this remark was even more baffling. So he was decisively silent. At the position of the car, Chi Chen realized that the car was gone, and he turned to look at Yanj. Yanj said quickly, "I called your brother and asked him to find someone to move the car. However, in such a short time, it should not be possible to be removed." As soon as the words were finished, I saw Chi Chen's car pulled on a trailer in front. "Yanj, it seems that your car has been pulled away by the city management." "Chi Chen, this is not the city management, this is the trailer of the Transportation Administration." "Oh," Yanj said, "couldn't it be your colleague? Would you like to say hello and bring the car back by the way?" Chi Chen. Although he and the people in the Traffic Management Bureau were both public servants of the people, he was not familiar enough to be able to mix public and private affairs. He was shameless to say hello and was ashamed. The point is that even if you come forward to say hello, people may not recognize him. Fortunately, the boss of Chi's car also arrived. The boss of the Chi family came very promptly. He probably wanted to come and drive his brother's car back, but he did not expect to pull his brother directly. Yanj's wounds are not severe, and the sequelae should be considered a leg injury. I thought it was okay not to bleed on my leg, but I didn't expect that my leg was broken. When Yanj entered the infirmary, Chi Chen waiting outside looked like his eyes were empty. He felt as if he was sick. He turned out to have that kind of wry mind for such a little girl. It's just terrible. He clenched his fists and slowly released them for a long time. Yanj hurt his muscles and had to rest in bed for a while. So after being taken to the hospital for examination, he was taken to Chi's house again. When leaving Chi's house, Yanj thought that because of her words, Father Su would probably not force her to go to Chi's house for a long time. However, it has not been a day yet, and she lived in the princess room that Su father had prepared for her. She couldn't help but argue. Father Su was a little hesitant, but the 2 sons of Chi family were more enthusiastic than 1, and 3 words confirmed her stay. It's not exactly enthusiasm. The second diligent in Chi family is probably because of guilt. But the boss of Chi family, Yan Ji, always felt that the boss of Chi family looked a little bad at himself. Although the boss of the Chi family is good at disguising and converging well, the song always feels that when the boss of the Chi family looks at himself, it is almost the same as looking at Su's father. Although living in the Chi family, Yanj insisted on going to school every day. Although the school is semi-closed, the situation of Yanj is quite special, so the school barely makes an exception. Ling Yanj was rather surprised that the next day she was injured. Chi Chen was also injured. "I heard that when I was in the police, I fell off the top of the building with the gangster. Fortunately, it was only a small 2-story building, and my life was still a broken leg. After my death, the villain blackened again." Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 397. Chi Chen stayed in the hospital for 3 days and was pulled back to Chi's house. Although the Chi family now has 2 wounded people, Yan Ji rarely sees Su's father and mother and Chi's boss at home. Every time she went back from school, when she entered the door, she saw the picture of Chi Jia's second child sitting on the sofa with his uninjured leg while watching the TV. Dignified national public servants, the people's police, and the TV they watched turned out to be some rural TV dramas or youth idol dramas, which really refreshed the recognition of Yanj. Every time he saw Yanj, Chi-Chen beckoned warmly, "Come here and watch TV together." Yanji rolled his eyes, limped to the elevator, and went upstairs to the room to do his homework, which was dinner, but also in his own room. Chi-Chen has recently adjusted his mood. He treats his own sister as an elder brother. No matter how he looks at it, he thinks that his cheap sister has a serious psychological problem. The most obvious manifestation is that he rejects others. He wasn't curious about this cheap sister, but people who couldn't bear it always asked him how he got along with Swiba's sister. And always concerned about his sister Swiba experienced so many things, will there be psychological stress or something strange? Chi-Chen felt that even if the cheaper sister had not experienced so many things, her psychology was abnormal. As a public servant of the people, he felt the need to straighten up this motherland flower that was about to grow crooked. Originally, I wanted to use the TV series to draw the favor of two people, but no matter what TV he put on, the girl didn't seem to have a look at it. Later, he used the game to seduce, and then saw Chikuakuo's contempt from the girl's eyes. Shueba's life is really beyond his understanding. But who is Chi-Chen? From the beginning of his mother's womb, the stock has become more frustrated and brave. So at dinner, he was walking with crutches and limping into the song room. "Is there anything I don't understand in my studies?" Yan Ji glanced at him still on the leg of the plaster. "Okay." The meaning of this refusal to talk was obvious, but Chi-Chen ignored her attitude. "Is it stressful to study recently? Would you like to ask a tutor for you?" "No, thank you." Chi-Chen circled the room. "You're a pretty girl in this room." He hadn't finished the praise of his bowels, and his words interrupted him. "This is my father and your mother's thoughts and arrangements. No wonder the style of this house is so weird that Chi-Chen doesn't have to compliment him. Are you used to living here?" "Okay." Chi-Chen laughed. "You girl, you have a clear dissatisfaction, and you have to force yourself to say yes." Yan Ji rolled his eyes. "What can I do? I have to be polite." Chi-Chen's smile was extremely helpless. He reached out and rubbed the head of Yanj. "What a bad temper." Yanj avoided his hand. "Speak and talk, don't move your hands." Chi-Chen. He sighed and sat down at her desk with a sigh. "Sujiajia, can you say a few words to me? I'm bored every day. Do you have any gossip at school?" Yan Ji squinted at the place where this guy was sitting, looking at the guy's cast leg. She put up with, "What gossip do you want to hear? What gossip does your school have? Is Wang Shen dead?" Yanj stared at Chi-Chen. "I heard that people who drank were very distressed before they died. Do you think he is a relief? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again." Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 398. At the end, Yanj smiled and added, "Is this gossip enough? Is this a gossip?" When this girl said such a thing, the expression on her face really made Chi-Chen a little creepy. This is nothing like the words of a girl who has experienced so many things. He didn't know how, and suddenly remembered the word change/state. This girl has a real psychological problem. Jia Chi-Chen coughed and said, "Have you ever thought about the things you go through that many girls can't experience? Would you like to find someone to channel the emotions in your heart? I am beautiful. Isn't it normal for a lot of girls to experience what I experienced?" Yan Ji looked at Chi-Chen with a puzzled expression. "In fact, I think that the person who should channel emotions is you. I think you have paid too much attention to me. Please correct your attitude. I am still a minor." Chi-Chen. Every time he talks to this girl, he gets angry. Hemp eggs, obviously want to give her a small support with his wide chest, but every time he can be angry with her and smoke. Chi Chen jumped on his cane without turning back. On Saturday night, the boss of the Chi family returned, and there was a small-scale quarrel with Chi Chen in the living room. The room was well soundproofed, so the door to Yanj opened a gap. She stood at the door and listened to it, and was not interested. Chi wanted Chi Chen to join Chi's company. He did not allow Chi Chen to work as a police officer. Chi Chen used both hard and soft, but could not wear it out, and he just started to quarrel. Probably because of the quarrel between the two brothers, Chi's recent atmosphere is not very good. Even Chi Chen had no extra energy to brush her face here. It's been a lot quieter without this guy bothering her all day. When her legs were good, she resolutely moved back to her dormitory. Before leaving, he deliberately resigned with Chi Chen. The other people in Chi's family are not here, and Yan Ji can only say goodbye to this guy. The same is the end of the world, holding the diagnosis certificate that Yanj handed him to the hospital, and the girl who was jumping around. Chi Chen looked at the crutches in his hands and was obviously depressed. I'm gone. You can raise your bones and hurt your bones for 100 days. You're not as young as I am. I think you should raise them longer. During this time, pay more attention and try to get better soon. Goodbye, brother Chi. Chi Chen looked at the song that waved his paw to him. He was angrily thinking that his brother's concern for his sister was feeding the dog. No, the dog is more loyal than this girl. This girl is a wolf, a white-eyed wolf. After the college entrance examination, Yanj was waiting for the results to finish the last guy who insulted the host in the previous life. She worked in KTV for more than half a month for this, letting this guy get drunk, and then set off the clothes that were sprinkled with alcohol when he ignited. Of course, it's not the end, because this guy was rescued in time. Although he had 70% burns on his body, he still had a life. All of Yanj's work is seamless in her own calculations. However, she did not expect that Chi Chen would find her again. Did you not pay for it at home? Why go to work in a place like KTV? My mother's birthday is coming up and I want to save money to buy a birthday gift for her. What's wrong with KTV? I don't think there is anything wrong in that place. She turned to leave, but Chi Chen suddenly grabbed her shoulder. He had a strong finger and pushed the song to the wall. He propped the wall with both hands and stared at the song with a gloomy look. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 399. Do you want wall stings? Yan Ji was not afraid. She blinked at Chi Chen with her black and white clear eyes. Below the public, please pay attention to the image of your own public servant. Chi Chen bowed his head slightly, and approached some of the songs. He still looked at the songs and looked down, his eyes gloomy. Is it a sense of accomplishment to put my intelligence above the law? Yan Ji frowned, looking at him neuropathically. I don't understand what you're talking about. Chi Chen looked at Yan Ji's gloomy eyes, and his anger gradually became helpless and confused under the stubborn look of Yan Ji. He grinds his teeth, the anger at the bottom of his heart eventually becomes helpless, and asks her, why? Why, do that? Obviously those people have no intersection with her. No, there is a little intersection. In Wang Sheng's chat group, these are the people who are discussing how to sleep the girl in front of them, and who will go to sleep first. The chat tone of these people is that they treat the girl as a beast to hunt, and make Chi Chen angry when she looks at it. But Chi Chen didn't think Yan Ji could see the news. So, why did she bother to do such a thing? Yanj didn't avoid his sharp eyes, which fell directly into her heart like a knife. She looked more dazed than him, and looked at him with an innocent look. I don't understand what you are talking about. She ignored Chi Chen's sharp eyes for a moment, and continued, I can't catch up with the train, can you let go of me? Anything, wait until I come back, or say the same on your mobile phone, my mother. Still waiting to pick me up at the train station. Chi Chen glared at Yanj, his throat rolling. trying to yell several times, but in the end, he just smashed his fist on the wall behind Yanj. Is there the next time? What's this? Yanj wants to respond to him, isn't that to expose himself, but looking at Chi Chen's posture, it seems that if she does not respond, he will not stop. She had no choice but to say, after the summer vacation, I will go to university. These things have nothing to do with me. I am not good at communication and graduated. My former classmates have nothing to do with me. She also responded to him unilaterally. Does this count as an admission? She did not admit that he was violent and angry, but her plausible admission made him feel that the anger in his heart seemed more and more out of control. He reached out and pinched her shoulder. He wanted to ask her why. As she said, she is beautiful, and she is a learner, why is she doing this kind of thing? She is playing against her scum on her future. Did she never think about it later? I never thought it would be impossible. He squeezed her shoulder on one side, but the phrase why swallowed back slowly as she looked at her pale, bloodless face. Be careful on the road. He picked up the suitcase beside her, took her hand, and strode toward the train station. Don't just sleep on the train, did you buy snacks? I never eat snacks. Her inadvertent answer made him even more uncomfortable. This girl looks beautiful and excellent, but she walks along all the way. What exactly has experienced to develop such a temperament? People dare not think deeply. When she was transported to the train, Chi Chen handed her the suitcase but did not let it go in time. He said to her, call me if there is anything. Unlike the former perfunctory or serious, at this moment, when he looked at her, he even had a bit of indescribable begging. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 400. Although I am not your brother, you can treat me as your brother. As long as you have something to do, I promise I will rush to your side to help you as soon as possible. Perhaps it was because the police had been a long time, or maybe everyone around her was talking about her, and he was the only one who could see her clearly. Chi Chen subconsciously wanted to correct her words, and did not want her to go astray, let alone her. He was ruined by this kind of thing in the second half of his life. He devoted himself to thinking of her well. He transformed all his strange emotions towards her into something else. Thank you. Yan Ji looked at him, rare and serious. You are a good policeman, I will always remember you. After leaving, Chi Chen was waiting for Yan Ji to text him or call him at the beginning. But then, he felt as if he thought more. The girl was heartless, and was still a white-eyed wolf. He didn't respond to text messages every day. When he called, the guy's cell phone was down. Anyway, I didn't tell him when I changed my mobile phone number. This was to completely cut off the connection with him. Chi Chen was so annoyed that it was not fragrant for a while, and boring. However, he thought in his heart that if she could really let go of everything and move to a new school and new life, it seemed to be a good thing. A little bit of time passes. Chi Chen hasn't seen that girl for a long time. The Uncle Sue of his family broke up with the little girl because of where the little girl went to college, so she seemed to let go of the girl's affairs completely. The girl was at his house, and few people talked about it. Even his colleagues have been attracted to new things, and no one mentioned her again. But he, secretly, has been following her. 3 years. Every time he travels to her city, he will go to her school for the first time. On Saturday and Sunday, he would travel by train to her city. Just to look at her from a distance. Seeing her and her classmates talking and laughing, watching her eating in front of the stall, and seeing that she and Sue's mother are helping to move around in the community. Occasionally, he would go to her class teacher to learn about her situation. He was relieved that she could lead a normal life like this. Don't let him run so far to see her. He didn't hesitate what he always expected of her. Chi Chen felt that he should retire successfully. But going to see her every week seemed to be another habit. Always keep an eye on it. After all, this girl is brave, and maybe one day will go awry again, so this week-to-week mode, he never stops. Yanj returned to the school in the province at that time in order to be able to take care of Mother Sue. After going to college, more boys chased her. Intend. After graduating from university, she was detained because of her studies, and she was working while studying for a master's degree. When she was in college, Mother Sue asked her to study hard. As a result, as soon as she graduated from university, Mother Sue began to complain about how she didn't make a boyfriend. How old can she be? So every weekend, the song is either on a blind date or on a blind date. Well, it doesn't matter, as long as the mother is happy. Chi Chen's weekend also went to school and went to Sue's shop to follow Yanj to go on a blind date. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 401. Why did the little girl in my memory start dating? Chi Chen is really incomprehensible. How can each of the blind dates be worthy of a girl? And aren't those guys afraid of being revengeless if she doesn't agree? Because of the fear of revenge on these men, Chi Chen stared at Yanj on Saturday. Fortunately, when he was at Yanj University, he installed the positioning on the phone of Yanj by the class teacher's hand, so that he would not worry about her whereabouts every day. When Chi Chen was worried that this girl's blind date would not end until the year of the monkey, the mother Sue was hospitalized. Su Mu was still young and only in her early 50s. Yanj thought that she would accompany Su Mu until she was old, but it was unexpected. Mother Sue's body looked fine on weekdays. This hospitalization test was uterine cancer. Yan Ji put down all the work at hand for the first time, listened to the doctor's advice, and took Sue's mother to the hospital in Beijing. Sue's body was unbearable, so she was the capital she drove to overnight. Almost as soon as she arrived in Beijing, she received a call from Chi Chen, "Where is I to pick you up?" I never met for a few years, and Yan Song heard Chi Chen's voice as soon as possible. Although there was a doctor contacted by the old professor, Yanj heard Chi Chen's question and asked, "Do you know any doctors at hospital? My mother needs to be hospitalized immediately if she is sick. We have a relative in that hospital. Where are you now?" Yanj said, "I just entered Beijing, but I booked a room in the Hanting Court next to the hospital. If you are convenient, you can wait for me there." Chi Chen, "Okay." Yanj drove for one night, and with Chi Chen's help, he went through the hospitalization procedure for the mother of Sue, and met with the attending doctor of the hospital, handed in the previous films and medical records of the mother Sue, and asked the treating doctor health talked about Sue's illness. On the day of hospitalization, it was another full-day inspection. In this situation, Sue's mother needed to have her uterus removed as soon as possible, because she could not be dragged anymore, so the surgery was scheduled at night. Even if Chi Chen was helping, Yanj was too tired to even talk. She hasn't taken a good rest for several days, especially these 2 days, she almost never sleeps. So sitting in the operating room, with her back slightly resting on the back of the chair, she fell asleep. "Wake up again" in Chi Chen's arms. Seeing her eyes open, he rubbed her hair with his hand and said, "Sleeping again, I will call you when there is a situation." The words of "don't touch your words," as soon as you said it, fell asleep again. Chi Chen didn't sleep, he was always looking at the girl who was resting on his leg. He had seen her countless times from afar, seeing her come out from a little girl and become a beautiful like beauty, he always thought that this girl had changed a lot. But now looking at her asleep, she felt as if she hadn't changed at all. Still at that time, I was always on the lookout for others, always a strong and self-respecting girl. Even now, her face was clearly frowned, and even if she was in her sleep, her frown was frowning. He moved his fingers and tried to touch her brow, but in the end, he just touched her dark hair lightly. The little girl became a big girl in a flash. And he seemed to be getting old. Time is really fast. Chi-Chen, she didn't dare to sleep, because she was afraid that the old cow would scoff at the tender grass. Song of Songs, you can lie still, I'll sleep just fine. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 402. Sue's operation was very smooth, but her condition was not optimistic. She was in advanced stage and the cancer had spread. She could only be treated with chemotherapy and radiotherapy. The follow-up money cost a lot. Yan Ji hung Sue's shop in the agency, and even the new house that Sue bought specifically for her, she also hung out. Chi-Chen gave Yanj his own card. He had more than 3 million in his card. A small part was his salary, and most of it was his brother's pocket money. I have money. I can't use your money for the time being. Yan Ji rejected Chi-Chen. Chi-Chen didn't forcefully hand it to her, but turned around and charged the money in the hospital's card. But even with money as a backing, Sue's condition has not improved. As she died, she squeezed Yan Ji's hand tightly and placed her daughter's hand in Chi-Chen's palm. Although she didn't say a word, it was worth 1,000 words. Yan Ji's hand was cool, and Chi-Chen followed Yan Ji's hand slightly to look up at Yan Ji, only to see the girl drop her head, and trembled Sue's mother with tears. He firmly grasped Yan Ji's hand and solemnly said to Mother Sue, "You can rest assured that I will take care of Jia, and I will not let her suffer a little bit of wronging." This said, the thoughts that went around in his heart seemed to have a way out, and his eyes were suddenly bright. After cooking Su Mu's funeral, Chi-Chen asked Yanj what he planned. Yanj thought for a while and said, "I'll ask the professor, the school wants me not, if I want, I will stay in the school." Chi-Chen looked at the words and stopped talking. Yanj asked him, "How?" As soon as she had finished speaking, Chi-Chen suddenly approached and bowed her head and kissed her. Although he was a kiss like a dragonfly, he did not leave immediately, but touched her forehead and said softly, "Jia, are you willing to be with me?" When she was 16, he was 26. She is now 26, but he is 36. She was old, but he was old. He never thought of it. After all, she was in his heart, no matter when it was the little weak girl. He didn't know when he was thinking that way. By the time he knew it, he could no longer restrain himself. However, he felt that he was not qualified to stand with her. After all, she's really dazzling. No matter where she goes, she is a shining existence. She is gorgeous, but he has become an old man. He was not half confident in himself. So he turned all those unknown thoughts into guardians. As long as he looked at her from a distance, looked at her well, and looked at her, he was satisfied. But this time, watching her in the hospital was so busy that she could not resist her hug only when she was tired and asleep, and those thoughts in his heart suddenly grew crazy. He wanted an opportunity to guard her forever, a name that embraced her with justness and light. Yan Ji looked up slightly and looked at him with a little puzzlement. "My mother's words, you don't need to take it to heart, you." Chi-Chen interrupted her, "I like you for a long time." He doesn't know when he likes her, he just knows that he likes it for a long time. The likes that he suppressed in his heart were not diluted by the years, but grew madly over time. He didn't wait for her to respond and immediately said, "If you don't have a suitable boyfriend, would you like to try to associate with me?" After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 403. Chi-Chen wanted to talk about his own merits, but found out in one mouth, as if he had no merits in front of her. He has a dangerous job, he is so much older than her, and even his family is a deduction for her. He was suddenly frustrated at this moment. But you can hear her say, "Okay." He stared at her in astonishment. She stomped her feet and kissed his lips. A shallow kiss was soon deepened by him. He held her tightly in his arms, he tasted the soft sweetness in her mouth, and at this moment even wanted to indulge in the tenderness she gave forever. Chi-Chen was afraid that his little girlfriend would regret it. After all, the popular wolf dog and small milk dog are popular. Old dogs like him can have such a beautiful girlfriend, which is the blessing repaired in the last life. He transferred his work to the city where Yanj is located. Regardless of his brother's opposition and the expression of indignation, he went to the city where Yanj was located. The first thing was to buy a small house with his own savings. The house is not far from where he works, and it is closer to the school where she works, and the house is still a school district room. If they have children in the future, it will be convenient to go to school. Although even the children's affairs have been planned in the future, when in love, Chi-Chen never thought of having a relationship with Yanj. Even when affection is strong, his hint of reason still reminds him to restrain. She was still young, and he didn't want to harm her until she decided to marry him. He just did his best to manage the so-called love between them. After several times of hooking up with this guy to no avail, Yanj did not force it. This is the first time she has seen such a stubborn man. To be honest, the man who can break suddenly at such moments, she still appreciates it. So after a year of dating, Yan Ji and Chi-Chen received their marriage certificate. After the two had agreed on the date of their marriage, they began to prepare for marriage. Chi-Chen almost broke the relationship with his family because of the matter with Yanj, that is, his brother will come to participate. As far as songs are concerned, there is no relative. On the wedding day, Chi-Chen's wedding car drove directly from the police station where he was located. His relatives and friends were all colleagues in the institute. In terms of songs, all the friends and relatives were teachers in the school. The place to pick up the relatives was in the old building where Mother Su and Yanj lived. Chi-Chen did not expect that he could really take the little girl back then, and he was smirking all day. There is no elevator in the old building, and Yanj's house lives on the 6th floor. Chi-Chen hugged people down the stairs step by step. The sound of gongs and drums all around, and everyone's laughter and continual noises continued. Chi-Chen could not hear it at all. In his heart, he was the person on his back. He heard her whispering to him, "Tired?" He shook his head and was not tired at all. He continued to exercise. Although he was a little bit older, he would work hard to keep her fit. When he got downstairs, he hugged her and was about to put it in the car, and saw that she suddenly held his neck and rolled him over the door of the car. She was so close to him that he could still see her face. A bright smile. But as far as she could see, it was the man holding the handle behind her. And the knife that fell into her body. His heartbeat seemed to stop at this instant. He hugged her with his backhand and quickly grabbed the man's wrist when he was about to pull the knife and kicked him with a kick. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gong Wei Pang. Chapter 404. I killed you, you destroyed me, I want to kill you. The man yelled madly and wanted to continue to rush forward. Those colleagues who met him around had already reacted to stop people for the first time. This person had sold drug products. This was his first sale, so when Chi-Chen found it, he cried and begged for mercy, saying that he needed money at home and wanted to bribe Chi-Chen. But Chi-Chen didn't. The man's family did need money. His mother needed money for surgery. His wife needed money for a pregnancy check. But this does not mean that men can do such illegal things. He was arrested, put in jail, and waited for the man to get out of prison. His old mother was mad at his affairs. His wife beat a child and divorced him. He had long since disappeared. He felt that all of this was done by Chi-Chen, so he always planned to get revenge. Chi Chen hugged her words, her hands around her waist were wet, and all her eyes were blood. Immediately, I will be at the hospital soon, he lowered his head and told her over and over again. A police car opened the road, and there was almost no obstruction on the road, but he still felt that this time was passing slowly and slowly. Yanj reached out and squeezed the back of his stiff hand. Chi Chen. He leaned down and pressed her cheeks. Is it painful? Sorry, it's my fault. Wait for you, you hit me, you can do whatever you like. Chi Chen, she asked softly, you go to school to see me every week, why? He thought she didn't know, but someone was always following him on Saturday and Sunday, and where could she be? Unclear. I'm afraid you will be bullied by others, he said busily. I'm afraid you won't tell me if you have something. You will always solve it by yourself. You don't want to contact me. You need me right now. But when her mother was sick, he still couldn't rush to her. When he saw her with a sullen face at the hotel door that day, he thought of her as a girl and drove alone for more than 10 hours to go to the night. She was so scared. Chi Chen, she shook his hand and suddenly laughed lightly. I thought you were afraid of me doing bad things, and I almost didn't find a chance to beat you. He followed with a smile, smiling, and burst into tears before he knew. When you're good, you'll hit me, you can hit me whatever you want. Chi Chen, she rested her head against his chin, her voice soft and almost inaudible. I did those bad things. He reacted almost instantaneously to what she meant. Those bad things were done by her. This is the modern times, so he was not sad. He hugged her tightly. You won't have anything, do think about it, you will never have anything. After a pause, he said, it has nothing to do with you, nothing to do, those people deserve it. Well, she said, okay. But immediately, she also said, every 20 seconds in the box, the light changes to a dark moment of 5 seconds at the end. I have a skill that can use a small wire to open or unlock the door from the outside. The brakes of that sports car are my hands and feet. And a lighter, which I gave to him. Many cigarette lighters are now unknown, and only some people who like to install 13 will use an open flame lighter to light cigarettes. Chi Chen, I'm such a swan scum. I've been lying to you all the time, sorry. After my death, the villain blackened again. Author, Ben Gongwei Pang. Chapter 405. Don't talk, Chi Chen muttered to her almost beggingly, don't talk, Jia, you'll be fine. She smiled and smiled at him with bright eyes. Chi Chen, how nice you are to be able to meet you. It is my greatest pleasure in my life. I am very happy, very happy. Tears rolled from the corner of his eyes, but he held himself back. Stupid girl, we still have a lifetime, a long, long life, say this when you get old. Okay. There was an ambulance waiting in front of the hospital. As soon as we got out of the car, Yanj was taken by the doctors and nurses to the ambulance and quickly headed for the emergency room. Until blocked by the emergency room, Chi Chen was still in a state of trance. His colleague came over and told him about the man, but he didn't hear a word. He stared at the door of the rescue room. He tried to rush in several times, but was forced to endure it. A little time passed. Chi Chen stood at the door of the rescue room, so motionless, he was standing. The door of the rescue room suddenly opened. He didn't wait for his wife. The doctor came out and said to him, the knife is right in my heart. Sorry, we tried our best. He heard the doctor's mouth close together, but felt that the sound of thunder was ringing in his ears, and his brain was buzzing, and he couldn't hear anything. It's okay, he doesn't have to listen to these people, he just needs to see his wife. He quickly ran into the rescue room and ran to her. He took her hand and shouted softly, Jia. Getting up, today is their wedding day, how can they sleep late? But he couldn't say a word. Her eyes were closed and motionless. He leaned over and embraced her in his arms, holding tightly. Chi Chen had a dream. In the dream, he was still the fledgling policeman. In the dream, Mother Sue was kneeling at the door of their bureau, crying again and again. At that time, he noticed Sue's mother because Sue's mother held Sue's hand on her knees and kept hoeing, asking her to help her find her daughter. What did Sue's father say? Father Sue said at the time, "You don't even look good at your daughter, and you still have a face to come to me. If my daughter has a 3 length, too short, I want you to look good." This Sue father was really hypocritical. He looked down on Sue father, and because the case was handled by him, he paid more attention to Sue mother. Later, the body of Mother Sue's daughter was found. The corpse was really terrible. A good flower season girl died so humiliatingly and painfully. It is impossible to imagine how such a thing would be done by a herd of animals. But such a group of animals/births are ultimately impunity. He could only watch and couldn't do anything. Everything in the dream is too clear. But in a dream, he seemed to live a lifetime. The big dream is sober, the day is not yet dawn. The window was dark and the room was dark and dim. He was motionless and stared at the ceiling. So, is this why she killed those people? How painful and helpless should she be with this? On the day she died, he didn't cry and shed tears. At this moment, tears burst into tears. Silly girl, you have never been sorry for me. Obviously, I am sorry for you. It's me, I can't help you bring those people to justice in my dreams, and I haven't been able to make you feel safe in my life. It's me, sorry for you.